The anime starts in a world where spiritual power and cultivation exist. The boy Enrolling eats a cake to celebrate his birthday with his late mother. He hears someone outside asking him to open the door. Suddenly, his TV and phone glitch out, so he uses his spiritual eyes to see who is outside. He tries to call the spiritual police, and an immortal god opens the door. The god brings him to the boundary between the spiritual and mortal realms and tells him to accept a war god system. Enrolling has no clue what is going on, but suddenly the system initializes and he gets a recommendation from the god to study at the top spiritual academy. Enrolling immediately accepts and the god flies away. He mumbles to himself about what just happened, and a robot from the system starts talking to him. It detects a person trapped within the teleportation gate, and Enrolling helps the person. A girl comes out of the portal and lands on him. She tries to pull him up, and the system gives Enrolling a new outfit. She introduces herself as Showdown, and Enrolling tells her that he is from the mortal realm. Together, they go into the portal and reach the academy. In front, people are chanting. They go to the front of the crowd, and Showdown tells him that the device in front is used to measure cultivation level and the class each student will be in. A student called Xian Yuan goes in front with the same recommendation scroll as Enrolling. The device says that he is in Class 1, the highest class. Next, Showdown touches the device and is also moved to Class 1. She goes to tell Enrolling that she will wait for him in Class 1, and everyone becomes wary of Enrolling. Next, Enrolling goes in front and takes out his recommendation letter. The instructor Yuing opens it and realizes it is from Master Lu. The male instructor Ming Yuan tells Enrolling that he will create a miracle that will change the world. Enrolling touches the device and it says that he is at spiritual stage 0. However, since he has a recommendation letter, he will still be placed in Class 1. Xian Yuan is mad and wants to challenge Enrolling. Showdown knows Enrolling is a pussy and flies him away. He is brought to his dorm, and the system robot tells him that he can upgrade his level to reduce hate from others. The interface tells him to do push-ups to be upgraded to the first stage. He then does 20 push-ups to be upgraded into the second stage and proceeds to do 100 push-ups for the third stage. He is then told to do 10 billion push-ups for the next level, and Enrolling realizes that that is impossible, so the system robot asks him to go to Showdown for advice. Later, he goes out to meet Showdown, but a guy in a mask ambushes him. Luckily, Enrolling manages to evade his attacks. He uses his secret move and punches the guy. The masked guy turns out to be Lu Debao. He prepares to do an attack, and the system robot tells Enrolling that he is unable to block the incoming attack. Debao launches the attack talisman, but it is destroyed by Showdown. At that moment, they see a guy at Enrolling's door identifying himself as Debao as well. Debao punches Showdown, but Enrolling takes her place and blocks it using Heavenly Gateway, so Debao runs away. Enrolling now feels sick and Showdown worries about him, but Enrolling tells her he feels like he will reach the 4th stage soon. They sit together and look at the stars. Bro pulled a baddie on his first day. The next morning, Enrolling and Xiaolan walk together, and Enrolling wonders why he is hated by everyone. He uses his spiritual eyes to hear what other people are saying. How did he use his eyes to hear? In class, their instructor is a tree. This anime gets weirder every second. A beautiful girl called Qianyun comes into the class and everyone blushes. Next, Xian Yuan comes in and looks at Enrolling. Suddenly, Qingqing, the tree, starts talking. A second later, the tree ends the class and Enrolling is confused, but everyone seems to know what to do. In the next class, the instructor is a sword called Ling Xiao, and the following class is taught by a literal ball of fire, and next, a hammer. Finally, Yuing walks in and appoints Enrolling as the class representative. She gives all of them a phone and just asks them to use their phones. Later, Ming Yuan is the instructor and he tells them to sleep and write down their dreams. Enrolling falls asleep and is woken up by Xiaolan in the middle of magic class. Xian Yuan is called up to the front and the teacher tells Enrolling to go in front for a match. Xiaolan wants to protect Enrolling, so she goes and fights Xian Yuan. He uses a shield to block Xiaolan's attack. At this time, Enrolling's system robot tells him that there is a weakness in the shield. Enrolling steps up and wants to take up the fight, but Xiaolan and Xian Yuan continue fighting. Xian Yuan casts a spell on Xiaolan and Enrolling uses Heavenly Gateway to negate the spell. Enrolling throws a punch but is locked up by magical chains. Suddenly, the chains break and we can see a hole in Xian Yuan's shield formation. At that moment, Enrolling reaches the 4th stage. The system tells him that he needs to absorb spiritual stones to reach the next stages. A flying mustache called Yuhua comes in and tells Yuing that he needs her to do something, so she dismisses the class. Xian Yuan comes to talk to them and Enlin asks him for spiritual stones, not knowing that it is currency in the spiritual world. Xian Yuan gives him a ring containing 1,000 spiritual stones and they become friends. Xian Yun goes to them and wants to be friends. Enlin is very enthusiastic about being her friend. Later, Yuhua asks Yuing who she thinks will win the battle for freedom and she says Enlin. The robot gives Enlin a special quest to place top 50 in the battle to get the chance to spin a lucky draw, but he will be turned into a girl if he fails. Enlin absorbs the spiritual stones and reaches stage 7. The system shows Enlin the layout of the battle for freedom. Enlin looks at his ranking with his current power level and sees that he is ranked 29,653. The robot tells him to prepare for his life as a girl. He looks in the mirror and becomes James Charles. The next day, he goes around asking his friends what they think of having a little sister or a female friend. He regrets his decisions and Xian Yuan thinks that he has gone crazy due to overpracticing. Xian Yun thinks Enlin is transgender and Enlin contemplates living. At home, Enlin is willing to do anything to rank higher. The system tells him that he needs to defeat someone who is in stage 9. Later, Xiaolan tells Enlin that she is at stage 10 and Enlin is hesitant to ask her to pretend to be defeated by him. In the end, he ends up not asking her. He goes to Xian Yuan for help, but Xian Yuan tells him to progress normally. Later, Xian Yuan decides to help and tells Enlin his weakness so he can sneak attack him. Yet, Enlin chooses not to accept and goes to Xiaolan instead. He asks her if she would be mad if he sneak attacked her, but Xiaolan somehow thinks he is confessing his love and agrees. That is delusion on another level. Xian Yuan teaches him some moves and later Enlin uses it on Xiaolan. He accidentally trips on a rock and grabs her breasts so Xiaolan runs away. In his house, he reads the book that Xiaolan gave him. Seeing the personal notes that Xiaolan wrote for him, he feels like shit for grabbing her breast. He wants to go apologize but suddenly feels pain in his stomach. When having diarrhea on the toilet, the system tells him that he will need to poop for 13 days to gain a new skill even though the Battle for Freedom event starts in 10 days. Xiaolan thinks that Enlin will go to apologize to her but she is disappointed when he doesn't come. The next day, Xiaolan doesn't see him in class. Xian Yuan later knocks on his door and questions him why he didn't go to class, telling him to apologize to Xiaolan. Enlin says he can't. Xian Yuan, thinking that Enlin has an inner demon, starts chanting a mantra and Enlin realizes that his progress has risen a lot. Xian Yuan keeps chanting and Enlin lets out a nuclear bomb. Finally, he finishes pooping and joins a crowd on the day of the battle. Never mind, he is not done shitting. A talking dog called Dabai goes to him and keeps talking to Enlin. Yuhua appears on the stage and talks about the battle for freedom. He casts a golden light on the students for protection and if it breaks, they will be eliminated from the battle. The students are sent to the location of the battle. Enlin spawns in front of Dabao and walks to Dabao asking him for toilet paper but leaves when Dabao doesn't have any. Xiaolan is still being salty that Enlin hasn't apologized. She has a tracker that shows where Enlin is. That is weird as fuck. The scene cuts to Enlin pooping under a tree. Someone comes and wants to fight Enlin but soon, other people come, wanting to fight Enlin as well. Enlin asks them to fight one another instead. Finally, he reaches full progress on the system and gains the skill of Mountain Quaking Fist. As a reborn man, Enlin gives an inspirational speech and defeats them using his new skill. Since those guys are in stage 9, Enlin completes the quest and reaches stage 8. His next mission is to go to Black Rock Peak and learn the Earth System martial arts or defeat 10 stage 9 students. Dabao goes to him and asks him to help the weak students by gently breaking their golden light so that they will not be destroyed by stronger students. The spectators think he is cheating, but the game's the game and Enlin climbs up the ranks. When Enlin is behind a tree, a powerful cultivator cuts the tree behind Enlin. He is defeated by a powerful girl floating on a staff. Her name is Qianhuan and she asks him to play a game with him. Enlin questions it but Qianhuan tells him she will fight him if he doesn't play. Enlin accepts to play but now Qianhuan doesn't want to play. She says that she will ask him 20 questions and they seem to get along well. At last, he answers the last question and Qianhuan asks him to play the game with her for 3 days. Enlin wants to complete his quest and tells her that Black Rock Peak is a good place for their game. Xiaolan sees that he is high up and the white dog appears to tell her that Enlin had been pooping the whole time. Weiji appears and attacks them. Qianhuan and Enlin reach the peak and they see a student called Chen but he soon disappears. Enlin asks Qianhuan about the man but he doesn't know what she is talking about. Xiaolan and Dabai run away. Enlin and Qianhuan play the game and they have a very good time. The robot appears and tells him that there are 5 minutes until he learns the skill and asks Enlin to ambush her. Qianhuan tells Enlin that he is her first friend but then says that he hasn't been honest since they reached Black Rock Peak. Enlin tells her that she has mistaken his training aura for his lying. He tells her that he was practicing to attack her and Qianhuan now wants to attack him. Enlin learns the earth skill at that moment and shouts that he was being sincere the whole time, so Qianhuan stops the attack. Energy is suddenly released from his body which blows Qianhuan back, but she still manages to defeat him. Enlin tells her that he was telling the truth the whole time and explains the system in his body. Enlin leaves and Qianhuan gives him her hairband. Enlin flies down the peak and the system tells him about his rank. Out of nowhere, he gets attacked by Xuanzhan, ranked number 1 in the school, who mistakes him for Chen Chen. Enlin hears the tracker beep and sees that Xiaolan is in trouble, so he goes to her. Xiaolan is being attacked by Wei Ji and his team. Just then, Enlin comes in like a shooting star. The lightning from Xuanzhan sends everyone to the gulag. Enlin, Xiaolan, and Dabai are protected by the shield created by the hairband. Enlin destroys Wei Ji and his team and gets promoted to stage 9. Xuanzhan now wants to attack Enlin, but Qianyun attacks Xuanzhan. Qianyuan captures him using magical chains, but Xuanzhan breaks out of the chains and goes to ask Qianyun out. The worst she can say is no. Qianyun pokes herself in the forehead and eliminates herself. Never mind. Xuanzhan gets mad and shoots a lightning dragon to defeat Qianyuan. A lightning is on course towards Enlin, but Chen Chen comes and disintegrates the lightning with his finger. Chen Chen asks Enlin to master the move that he did and leaves. Since Xuanzhan already killed everyone, Enlin will only be able to reach rank 50 by defeating Xuanzhan. He immediately challenges Xuanzhan and eliminates Xiaolan, telling her to wait outside. Enlin introduces himself and wants to fight Xuanzhan. Xuanzhan shoots a lightning dragon at Enlin and he punches it using Mountain Quaking Fist, but it doesn't work. As the dragon flies closer to him, Enlin learns the heaven-splitting finger skill and immediately uses it. The broadcasting screen breaks and suddenly Xuanzhan appears in the lobby. Qianhuan eliminates herself as well. After the battle, Enlin receives new gifts, prizes, and skills. 1 month after the battle, Yuhua announces that the Demon King in the mortal realm has escaped and some students will be dispatched to help suppress it. The scene flashes back to Xuanzhan informing Wei Ji that he has been replaced by Enlin for the mission. Wei Ji is jealous of Xuanzhan and gets mad at him, but Xuanzhan the Jigachad makes him sit the fuck down. Yuhua appoints Enlin, Qianyuan, and Xiaolan for the mission and elects Enlin to be the leader. Now people stop hating on him and call him the Great. He gives a speech and tells people that he will buy whatever they want from the mortal realm. Qianhuan flies in and announces that she and Enlin have opened an esports club. Later, everyone arrives outside Enlin's house to register to buy stuff from the mortal realm. Meanwhile, Qianhuan recruits people to join her club. She gives him a storage ring containing 10,000 spiritual stones and a special ability. The scene cuts to Xiaolan, Enlin, and Qianyuan at the boundary between the spiritual and mortal realms. As they are about to depart, a purple thing grabs Enlin. Xiaolan jumps towards him and they are both pulled away. Qianyuan also goes in. Enlin is woken up by the robot and he realizes he is falling from the sky. He holds Xiaolan tightly. As he is about to reach the ground, he uses his skill to protect himself. Qianyuan later comes and they realize that a talking flower is on Enlin's head. A girl standing on a flying vehicle called Weakling makes her entrance and tells them to come with her. They go into the vehicle. Qianyuan takes pictures while Xiaolan and Enlin chill. Weakling is being a bitch, so Enlin tells her to shut the fuck up. She insults him and Xiaolan takes out her sword. The aircraft lands and the door opens. They follow Weakling out and see a lady whom Enlin is surprised by. Her name is Yuan, a famous cultivator who has appeared on many billboards. She tells them that they are gathered to embark on a mission. Enlin confirms if it is to capture the demon, but the man, Shurgwa, tells them that it has already been killed and they are at the aircraft station to be sent back to the spiritual realm. Yuan tells them to never send cultivators to the mortal realm again. Just then, a warning signal alerts them that demons have been spotted and combat personnel is needed. They want to help, but Shurgwa attacks them and forces them to leave. Enlin steps forward to fight the guy. Suddenly, Weakling ambushes Enlin and punches him continuously. Instead of attacking Weakling, Enlin dashes to Shurgwa and uses a skill to make him cry. Yuan stops him, acknowledges his strength. Yuan tells Enlin that if he can survive her soul attack, they will be allowed to stay. Yuan casts the attack and Enlin uses the almighty technique to suppress it. Shigua sends him and Lingling to the battlefield together for a nice date. Lingling communicates to the station that they need reinforcements. She wants to retreat but Enlin doesn't want to go. He uses his divine eyes and goes into the mist but later comes back out and brings Lingling to retreat, telling her that there are 4 high-level enemies. Everyone in the base realizes that an extremely high-level demon has invaded the mortal world. One of the guys goes inside the teleporter but halfway through seems to be possessed and is pulled back out. Xiaolan and Xian Yuan reach the battlefield and meet up with Enlin and Lingling. The communication with the base cuts off and Lingling tells them to leave. Enlin tells her that they haven't lost yet and should keep fighting. Just then, Enlin is attacked by the demons. Xian Yuan goes to help but is also attacked. Xiaolan jumps at Enlin to save him but a demon lightning strikes Enlin and they both fall to the ground. Xian Yuan jumps on the demon and everyone starts fighting again. Enlin uses the almighty technique to stun the demons but is abducted through a spiritual gate. The scene cuts to the demon performing a sacrificial ceremony on Enlin. The robot wakes Enlin up and he uses the ring to summon Qianhuan. Xiaolan's sword comes through the gate and Qianhuan appears to demolish the 4 lower-level demons. The strong demon is Dark Knight. She puts her arm through a portal and casts a spell to kill Qianhuan. The drunk flower on Enlin's head releases a powerful light to stop it. Dark Knight walks towards Enlin wanting to take his life with a law-bending sword. She teleports him next to her and stabs his hand, releasing some sort of poison. The rest run to Dark Knight but he is using a device which takes away their spiritual energy. She tells them that the earth will be destroyed at dawn. A notification pops up and gives Enlin the chance to gain absolute power for 1/5 of his life. Enlin reaches to press yes but a spirit fairy, Tina, presses no. She goes into his body and Enlin controls the Dark Knight's weapon to stop the calamity from happening. Tina comes out of Enlin's body and tells him that she is the system robot. She gives him a final mission to find the kingdom of spirits and disappears into thin air.